Green is on. Yeah, do we have a microphone? Speak directly. Awesome. Thank you. Uh, Thank you to the assembly chambers. This is the first time that we're trying out this new audio system, so I hope that it works a lot better for folks in the room. Uh, for the Eaglecrest board, we've got Thor, Sean, Wayne, Jim, Brandon, and myself, Hannah. As our assembly liaison, we have Neil. And we also have online calling in from Japan, Kevin. So thank you very much for being here. Representing the mountain tonight, we have Marissa. So thank you very much, Marissa. And then I Oh, and we may call on other members of the mountain team, such as Aaron, but not necessarily on the schedule. Uh, If everyone's had a chance to review the agenda tonight, is there any amendments or adjustments?
I move that we approve the agenda for the January 8th Eaglecrest Board of Directors meeting.
All right, hearing no objections, I'll move that through. We do have some minutes in the board packet. I would suggest that we do not approve those minutes. We got the wrong one that was uploaded, so it doesn't have the level of detail that the right one does. If anyone would like to move ahead to approve them, that's all right, but I think it might be better just to amend that at a later time.
I would move that we delay approval of the minutes.
Fantastic. All right. Well, that moves us on to public participation. And if it's okay, and I'm sorry to grandstand, before we start public participation, I do have some things I'd like to share just to kind of to share our perspective, or at least share my perspective. If you've been following these meetings, and a lot of you have, and we appreciate it, you'll know that Eaglecrest in the past couple of years has been dealing with kind of a slow moving hurricane of aging infrastructure, difficulty with maintaining staff. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Uh, can anyone give me indication that you can hear me? There's an echo? Okay.
Or on your device, I have on you, something like that.
If I just speak loud,
Is this one following the meeting on their cell phone?
Somebody.
Because we're getting feedback. That's the wrong song.
Sounds better. Yeah. Can anyone?
That is much
Oh
better
my
than
gosh.
mine.
Talk about a slow building hurricane. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm so sorry. Thank you for that extra bit of patience right at the start. So yeah, so if you follow these meetings, if you love Eaglecrest, if you have kind of stayed in the news for the past couple of years, there's been kind of this catching up with us in terms of aging infrastructure, a difficulty recruiting and retaining staff. And to be totally honest, a decision-making culture that prioritized the immediate skier experience over any other outcomes, including responsible maintenance, the safety of our guests and employees, and ultimately the long-term sustainability of the ski area. And since, for the past 2 winters, since he's been on board, the direction of this board to Craig has been to arrest that decision-making process. That, of course, the ultimate point of a ski area is to get people up on the mountain and enjoying their public lands. But that if we need to make a choice, and we have to make hard choices all the time, we need to prioritize safety, responsible use of public funds and equipment, and creating an environment where people want to play and work. The Assembly gave Eaglecrest a huge vote of confidence that we were really grateful for, with an unprecedented allotment of resources to catch up on maintaining our most important lifts and equipment, and investing in our mountain team with additional positions and pay equity. And we've been working really hard to use that investment in a responsible and effective way. And this, like, it's easy to talk about this stuff when it's August and there's blueberries and the sun is out. Like, of course, we're prioritize safety above all else. And it is a lot harder to make those decisions in December when the snow is falling, and that's all we want to do is get out on the mountain. But it's the same decision-making process, that if the team of experts on the mountain doesn't feel like they can provide an adequately safe experience, Or if the fastest possible solution is only going to create more expensive problems down the road, we have to err on the side of those sustainable choices. And that doesn't mean that those choices are fun or that we want to make them. We would all rather, like, again, when push comes to shove, we'd all rather be making the opposite choice. But making decisions solely or primarily on the quickest impact to the fastest skiing experience, ultimately it relies too much on luck, and it relies too much on burning of resources that we don't really have. And the best choice for Eaglecrest to get to 55 years or 75 years or 100 years is to make decisions that prioritize longevity and safety and to earn and to keep the confidence of the public and the assembly. And that's all, again, that's all well and done. This month has been terrible, okay? So pretty much anything that could have gone wrong went wrong, and then it started snowing. And your neighbors and your civic servants who work on the mountain have been working extraordinarily hard with every angle that they can and having almost no success. And if you've been in those positions before, you know how demoralizing that is. And then even if you don't work on the mountain, we all suddenly have a second job, which is shoveling and water maintenance and what does a berm, so we're all tired, we're all frustrated. And it's just, I think it speaks to how much we all love Eaglecrest that there's so many people here right now after this really pretty crappy month. And I'm really, really grateful that you're here. We are looking forward to hearing your feedback and your thoughts. For this public feedback session, we're going to try and target like 3 minutes each, just to try and get through as many people as possible. I am going to try, and I hope the board helps me kind of keep track of like 2.5 so we can give people like visual cues or verbal cues and help people maybe finish their thoughts if they are going over like I am, and I apologize. And I also ask that you direct your comments to us, the board, and not to the mountain staff, because we are ultimately the ones that set the standards and the procedures for the mountain. And that you extend the same dignity and courtesy to the people around you that you would want extended to yourself. So with that being said, is it all right if we move forward with public testimony? All right. Is that possible? We're promoting the assemblyman to timer, so thank you. The first person, thank you so much for being here early from the Juneau Ski Club is Kevin, if you want to come forward. And the only ask for the recording is that you state your name before you start.
My name's Kevin Stell, and I'm here today to represent the Juneau Ski Club. It's been a long time, I think, since the Juneau Ski Club has had a presence at one of these meetings, and we felt it was a good time to come down and just kind of introduce ourselves a little bit to some of you that we don't know and or may not be as familiar with our program. Anyway, our mission has always been to promote alpine skiing through athlete development and competition. We've been a part of Eaglecrest since the beginning. In fact, our club goes back to 1935. We celebrated 90 years last year. So alpine skiing has been a part of Juneau for quite some time now. Over the years, our club's produced hundreds, if not thousands of skiers, many of them who are still here today, here skiing at Eaglecrest. And that's kind of the whole mission of our ski club. We have alumni that have raced national, international competitions at the collegiate level and all over Alaska each year, as well as a Olympic silver medal and a World Cup downhill champion as part of our alumni. So anyway, last year the Juneau Ski Club had approximately 100 athletes from the Mighty Might age group level, starting at 6 years old up to 18 years old, and roughly 70 families involved, and estimating somewhere between 250 to 300 pass holders. So I think we are one of the largest, if not the largest, user group on the mountain consistently, kind of year after year. It varies our membership does vary depending usually on the snowfall, but this year we do have a couple of big events, and I just wanted the board to be aware of that. One of the first events we're having is the state championships for the 10 to 13-year-old age group. We're going to have a Super G race, giant slalom, and slalom. And we estimate about 60 athletes from Alyeska, Hilltop, Fairbanks, Arctic Valley, as well as their families. For these age groups, usually their parents come with them as well. So we have quite a few folks coming to Eaglecrest, and they always enjoy coming down here. Everybody loves to ski when Eaglecrest is good. So as well, we have a free ride comp. In fact, we have an adult and a junior free ride comp, again, bringing 60 or 70 athletes, as well as many of their parents to Eaglecrest from Alaska and all over the Western United States as well. It's part of the International Free Ride Association tour. And we've had a couple of very successful events. People are looking forward to coming back. But basically, some of our needs from the Eaglecrest board, for the state championships, for example, is hill grooming. And our race hill requires a winch cat. That's one thing that we really rely on. If we can't have a groomed run, we can't have a competition. So yeah, I'll make it quick. So yeah, the grooming is a major part of what we do. And like I said, we can't have a competition without it. The other part of that is transportation of safety netting. To have our races, we require a tremendous amount of safety fencing to ensure a safe event, as well as ski patrol support. We depend on having a couple of ski patrol at our events just to make sure someone is there for quick response and any medical attention any of the athletes need. One of the things that we're not really needing so much this year, but in past years and in the future, is snowmaking. That is one issue on our hill, Lower Hillary's, and the finish area. There is currently no snowmaking there. If our finish area doesn't have snow, we can't have competitions. We can't just move it up the hill. We have a sanctioned hill that we work on. So that's one thing that the Juneau Ski Club would really like to see as an improvement in the future, if possible, to get snowmaking on our race and training hill. So I'm sure that's about my 3 minutes here, but anyway, I appreciate your time, and we have another speaker here from the Juneau Ski Club who's next on the list, I think Brock, so I'll introduce him as well. Yeah.
Good, he covered everything I was going to say.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Brock, you've sacrificed your time at the, thank you. Luke?
Oh, okay, cool.
Would you mind just stating your full name?
Luke Thornton's my
Thank
name.
you.
Yeah. Yeah, first off, I just want to say I'm very grateful that we still have the mountain. I'm extremely grateful to the ski people or the employees that are working so hard up there to keep things going. But there's been a lot of things that I've been seeing this year that have been kind of hard to deal with. It's clear that we are in financial dire straits right now. Eaglecrest is not getting the funding that they need. I mean, as you stated earlier, infrastructure is ailing. The gondole project is far exceeding anyone's expectation of cost. And there's a lot of things going on at the mountain that I see that could mitigate some of the horrific disasters that have happened up there. And I understand that you guys are extremely safety conscious. We could say that. But your one opportunity to make any kind of money, your best opportunity, during the heaviest snowfall December ever recorded in Juneau, Alaska, is Christmas vacation. And I understand the Ptarmigan chairlift wasn't spinning. I don't have all the details on that, I can't speak to that. I don't know when the maintenance started. I don't know when it was supposed to be completed. I don't know what held that up. But my question to you guys would be the two biggest things. Number one, why wasn't uphill traffic allowed? I mean, there could have been a groomed track to the top of Ptarmigan. This is speculation, but during that Christmas vacation period, I would guess you guys would get anywhere from 50 to 100 people more going up to that mountain just to hike up to that area and use that area. There's a ski patrol hut up there. You could have had ski patrol posted. If there was a track groomed, snowmobile access would have been even faster than ski patrol access. I heard them throwing bombs up there continuously for avalanche mitigation. What were the funds being wasted on, the bombs, if there was never any intention to open that uphill area to traffic? So it's a frustrating situation. I mean, not to attack you guys. I'm trying to be as respectful as I can. Everybody here is, my guess, a little frustrated. But you're throwing away funds that could be used to do repairs on those lifts when you cut people out of that recreation. People just didn't want to go to the mountain anymore. And you're cutting us out of something that we love to do, the heaviest snowfall ever recorded. And I understand that creates avalanche danger. But if I could speak to one more thing, please. The other thing that's been, and not to attack, but has been quite frustrating with what's been going on up there, is the lack of information. I mean, we need to know. We want to know. We, as a community, we fund this ski area. So we have a right to know what's going on up there. Where is Ptarmigan at this point? My last info was that the last safety check for the insurance was done today. If that's the case, why isn't it spinning tomorrow? It's going to rain harder than anyone's ever seen it rain on Saturday. There's a chance that we could all go up and enjoy it on Friday. I mean, it's just, and granted, there are things that I'm not privy to. I understand that. These are just concerns that I'm bringing up. But when you don't come out with information and you're not forthcoming, you start to inspire conspiracy theories, trash talking. People are angry. They start coming up with their own theories. They start blaming you. They start blaming the manager because they don't know. And everybody wants to understand why this is happening. And I understand it's not easy for Craig to write a report every time something goes wrong, but keep us updated on the important things. I mean, that's serious. That's serious. So anyways, that's well past my 3 minutes, so.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And in the interest of time, I do want to get through, I want to hear more feedback and a lot of these questions we're going to talk about in the mountain report. So thank you. Nancy?
I push the button. Oh, apparently not. Boy, I haven't been to one of these in a long time. I'm Nancy Peel. And I will be less than 3 minutes. And because a lot of what I was about to say has already been said. But first of all, I'd like to thank the board for being in the hot seat. You volunteered to do this. So thank you for stepping up and, filling those positions. I'm not sure I could do it. Anyway, Eaglecrest is struggling. We know that. And most of us who've been around for a while, that's not a new thing. It's always run on a shoestring. Shoestring budget relied heavily on community support throughout its 50 years. But this year, as has been stated, it's in a different class. And there's lots of grumbling. You've heard it. We've all heard it. We've all done it, right? You know what it's about. But even I started to grumble. I'm not really a grumbler, but I'm not grumbling about the things that aren't going well. And I'm going to echo some of the things that Luke just said. I'm more grumbling about lack of communication with Eaglecrest users in the community. You know, Eaglecrest, as we know, is not like other ski areas. It's local. And those of us who ski and ride there support it through thick and thin. We're not tourists, nor are we a tourist destination. But, you know, when you start to see support fall away, you know you've got a big problem. So my question is for a lot of other people, like, what is really going on up there, right? We just want to know, right? The truth, maybe even the ugly truth. We can take it. Maybe we can even help out, but we can't do anything if we don't know the real story. The updates are vague at best. What is the real story about no uphill access, right? We know it's about safety, but that's all you hear, and you hear the same thing, especially with the Ptarmigan Share Down. I've never seen that in 45 years. Why aren't there real updates about progress on the water system? What's happened so far? What needs to happen next? Who's working on it? When do you think it might be ready? Just little information like that. What about Ptarmigan? What's the status, right? We would just like the details, that's all. Otherwise, it feels like, well, for me, I'm not going to speak for everyone, but it feels like I'm being duped or treated like I wouldn't understand. Anyway, so why are all these unfortunate things happening? That's not why I'm here tonight. We all kind of, like, you know more about it than I do, not asking about that. But I would like more and better communication about the real issues that are preventing things from operating as they should and as they were sold. We keep going. Staff and management come and go, but supporters like me and you will be here. It would be unfortunate if we lost more support than we already have because of vague, spotty communication that really says nothing. It's time to think about how Eaglecrest will recover from this. And I think we can recover, but not if things stay as they are, especially the communication with the public and the users. Again, thank you guys for sitting up there in the hot seat.
Thank you, Nancy. And thank you, Nancy, too. If I'm wrong, correct me, but you're the Nancy that kind of started the ski school? You're oh, all right. All right. Well, still, kudos where kudos are due. Dylan?
Hi guys, I'm Dylan. I'm Dylan Carlton. As of this winter, I've been a patron of Eaglecrest for 17 years, 17 winters. I worked as a lift operator for 6 years, and one cold, snowy day in December of 2012, I met the love of my life, Sarah, another lift operator. I am very emotionally and physically invested in Eaglecrest. There's only one topic I'd like to address tonight, and it's communication. Only one topic I'd like to cover tonight, and that's communication. I feel there's been no communication about ptarmigan other than vague Facebook and Instagram posts. As I try to avoid all social media, especially those, I have been in the dark about why ptarmigan is still not operational for the public. The website mentions nothing about ptarmigan not in working order, and all I hear is speculation and rumor about unclear social media posts. Please update us about everything, good and bad, setbacks and accomplishments, instead of what feels to me is being purposely secretive and misleading. My wish and advice is to please use normal community outreach, like KTOO, your website, your newsletters, to keep us abreast of everything, not just the smiling faces and pretending all is normal. I'd love to know what's going on, even if I don't understand exactly what you guys are talking about. Thanks for being here, guys.
Caitlin?
Hello. My name is Caitlin Bosler, and I have been an Eaglecrest season pass holder for over 30 years. My entire family, including myself, has been employed at some point by Eaglecrest, and my parents are current employees of Eaglecrest with Ski School and Ski Patrol. Growing up, I spent most of my weekends and some weekdays if there was good snow at Eaglecrest. Many of my good friends to this day, I met at Eaglecrest as members of the Juneau Ski Club. Although I grew up in Juneau, a large part of why I've chosen to stay in Juneau, have my career here, and raise my family here is because of the fond memories I have of winters at Eaglecrest. It's not only the great skiing, but the tight-knit community that makes it special. And I am not alone. Many of my childhood friends have chosen to raise their families in Juneau too. Eaglecrest both keeps people in the community and gives families a reason to want to move here. I want my twin 2-year-old sons to have the same opportunity to experience the wonders of Eaglecrest that I did. I am concerned, though, that the way the mountain is currently being managed, that this may not be a reality for them. As CBJ taxpayers, we are all stakeholders in Eaglecrest. I am disappointed in the lack of clear, transparent communication, like many of other people have said tonight and probably will say after me, that have been plaguing on the litany of issues that have been plaguing Eaglecrest recently. We deserve to have detailed updates with projected timelines of when the main water line and ptarmigan chairlift will be repaired. The last update about the ptarmigan lift to the public was on December 27th. That was 13 days ago. I understand progress of getting ptarmigan up and running is occurring, but this is all information I get secondhand. It's hard to know what is true and what is rumor if there are not regular updates. And updates need to be on the website and email in addition to social media. I'm also disappointed that the condition report is not updated in a daily, timely manner. In the past, the standard was to have the conditions report updated by 6:30 or 7 a.m. with details on the amount, quality of the snow, and projected weather for the day. Like, do you need to wear your Grundens to go skiing today? When people feel like they are left in the dark, it makes them question their investment and are less likely to support Eaglecrest in the future. I know there are a lot of major decisions that will be made about Eaglecrest's future soon. I feel that at the bare minimum, improving communication this season with the public will help improve the goodwill towards Eaglecrest in the future, so that maybe my children and yours will have a future there. Thank you.
Thank you, Caitlin. Fred?
My name is Fred Hiltner. I'm here as a representative for the Juneau Nordic Ski Club. My position there on the board is a liaison between Eaglecrest and the Nordic skiing community. I really appreciate that we are able to do that. I want to thank the board and Eaglecrest for a strong long-term relationship and very much a partnership. We've worked together with helping our youth program. We have over 100 youths in our program for Nordic skiing, both learning how to do it and racing programs, including a new high school racing team. That was a big, really exciting part of our year, just started last year. We appreciate the opportunity to work with your groomers up there, especially new groomers. When we have races up there, it really helps, and you've helped so many times with preparing a start-finish areas and that sort of thing, and been super great to work with in that area. I've spent quite a few mornings with new groomers, showing them kind of the flow route so that they can groom, 14 kilometers or so of ski trail without having to back up or, turn around excessively. So it's been really great to work with your groomers too. It's been an opportunity to share with members of our board and just skiers to share Nordic skiing, cross-country skiing with the board members and other people up at Eaglecrest. It's been a great opportunity. I want to thank Eaglecrest for years of wonderful skiing for me and my family. And as you know, the Eaglecrest lower and upper loops world-class skiing. It's just great skiing, and we appreciate your attention to grooming up there. I've extra appreciation for recent skier safety practices. I appreciate you digging deep into lift maintenance, deeper, because it's so important to have them maintained both for longevity and so that no accidents happen up on the mountain. It's been frustrating for a lot of people to have things, less opportunities to ski so far, but I can't say it enough how much I appreciate you're making these difficult decisions regarding repairs and maintenance, because I just see that my son has skied there for 43 years, and I wouldn't want him to go on a lift, even he was up skiing today. If there was any doubt at all whatsoever about the quality and safety of those lifts, I know that's a really tough decision. I appreciate that you're making progress in spite of employee shortages, and I just can't say how much I know. Don't know how to say it well, but even if it does cause delays, I appreciate that safety is your main concern. I appreciate, especially with your low numbers of employees, that have been hard to get up there too. I realize doing a big project like that shorthanded is extremely difficult. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Fred. Pam, I believe? Or maybe Pat? Oh, yes, yeah. No, thank you for your patience with me.
All right, am I on? Yeah. All right, thank you, board, for doing what you do. I know you're volunteers. And what?
And just do state your
Oh,
full
and
name.
my name is Patty Collins.
Thanks.
Sorry. Yeah. I mimic what everybody else said about communication, saying we're working on it, we're working on it. We're saying that over and over is not communication. Communication is details. You know, hey, we finally got all the pieces and parts in. Now we're waiting for this inspection. It's scheduled for this date. Sorry, it's the holidays. Can't do it any sooner. That's communication. Details. All right. My other thing that I really wanted to address is the uphill traffic or lack of. There have been times in the past when ptarmigan has been broken. It doesn't bother me that ptarmigan is broken. I know our maintenance is a constant, ongoing battle. But the fact that day after day, it's saying on the website, it's closed uphill traffic for avalanche, we all know, we've all skied here for years. We know how much time it takes to do your bombing and your maintaining for avalanche safety, and to cut everybody off and not let everybody travel uphill is a disservice. Am I still on? Is a disservice to all the pass holders in Juneau who would like to use it. You know, we bought a pass. Okay, the lift is broken. At least let us at least act like the mountain is open and allow people to hike up. And that is how managers in the past have handled the situation when ptarmigan has been broken. And it has happened before. I can remember it very distinctly before for, 3-4 days at a time where we had to walk. Oh, well. So that's my big gripe there. It should not have been cut off, especially this past weekend. It wasn't even snowing. It had been skied heavily over the first when it was closed. The second and third was the weekend. It didn't snow again. The idea that there had to be avalanche mitigation all day, every day, just feels like we're getting lied to and whitewashed and denied. But that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thanks, Patty. Bruce?
Good evening. My name is Bruce Griggs. I've been a 50-year pass holder. I've worked at Eaglecrest as an employee in the mountain ops. I've been a ski instructor, and then I became contractor who Eaglecrest has leaned on over the years. So I have a unique perspective on what's been going on. And, you know, we all understand safety is really important. And I think Eaglecrest has a pretty stellar, we have a pretty good track record. And the fact that decisions have been made, I believe, that could have impacted Eaglecrest to the point where we should be up and running. A lot of the decisions could have been avoided because nothing that's happened is new. The lodges, the water system has froze up before. The snowmaking system has froze. Black Bear has been broken several times, even worse than what was recently considered unrepairable. Ptarmigan, obviously, is 50 years old. It's been fixed time and time again. Nothing is new. The only thing that's new is how it's been handled. And in my opinion, it's been handled so poorly that it's put us in the position that we're at now. And I think it could have been avoided. And it boils down to bad decision making. And I know the board doesn't make those day-to-day decisions. You basically, you give a direction. And it just seems like the current management is in so far over their head that every decision they make is a wrong one. And it makes me sad. You know, we all live in Juneau for a big part because of Eaglecrest. I could say almost everybody here because I know everybody here, and it's really disturbing. And there's a lot of very upset people, and a lot of them aren't public speakers, as I'm not really. I just felt like I had to get up here and give my piece. And if the board doesn't do something drastic to change the current downward spiral we're in, then we're going to lose Eaglecrest. And that's pretty unacceptable. And you do not want that to happen on your watch. And that's all I got to say.
Thank you. Oh, yep.
Yeah, hello, I'm Dave Hanna. Like Mr. Griggs, I'm a 51-year employee, volunteer, donator at Eaglecrest. Actually 51, because I helped build the road up there before Eaglecrest existed. But so like Bruce, I have a pretty good handle on what it takes to run that ski area. And as such, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to direct my remarks to the board chair and the board, that the opening remarks we heard from the chair were based almost entirely on fiction. All the things we have, I'll take that back. The broken water line under the lodge was not the fault of a bad decision that I know of. Maybe something should have been spotted a while ago. Every other problem we're having right now was a result of neglect. Now, a year ago, I sent the board a letter. It was a long list of things that had been neglected up there and poor decisions that had been made. And I wanted answers to those questions. Why did this happen? Who let this happen? I never got any answers. I came back again this year, said, hey, what's going on? And why haven't these things been fixed? And all the mistakes have been repeated. All of them. Lift maintenance was delayed till almost the end of the summer. The intake system for the water making was never repaired properly. The cat maintenance was not done during the course of we brought piston bully people up here, but the cats weren't repaired. I'm not sure what happened there. And the list just goes on and on and on. We have just repeated all the mistakes we made last winter, right down to letting the snowmaking pipe freeze up again. For God's sakes, how did that happen? Why did we let that happen? We had a 28-page list from the former manager of things that needed to be attended to. I think they threw it in the garbage. None of those things were attended to. I'm surprised Porcupine Lift is running. I don't see a cover over the wheel. I mean, is that gearbox filling full of water again? It's all these little things that go on, And we can't even bother to either take down the Pittman Pub's tent or keep the snow away from it so it's collapsed. There's a mountain of porta potties at Alaska Waste or Tyler Rental, yet we had all our porta potties were full and overflowing and we couldn't get them pumped. Well, we could have brought more up. I mean, can nobody make a rational decision to actually fix something or respond to something up there? I'm not seeing it happen. We need a change. We need to change the direction. We need to change the management up there, and we need it right now. We cannot afford this any longer. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Matt? Oh, all right. Sean?
Hey, Sean Isley. I guess I wanted to speak tonight because I've seen a lot of vitriol in the community, and it is true that a lot of us, everyone here really cares about Eaglecrest. It's not true that vitriol or personal attacks are the right way to handle it. I completely agree with the president's comments at the beginning of this meeting. I think those are right on, and I'm really glad that the board is viewing things through that lens. I get frustrated at things like uphill traffic not happening right now too. But I know a lot of people in the snow safety community, and I trust their judgment. And I think there are things they could do differently, but I also know that they're working really hard to keep us safe. And, they have to make sure that the hill is, that the avalanche danger is clear so you can get a cat up the mountain if you want the mountain to open eventually, even if that means you're not skiing the upper mountain. There are a lot of concerns that they have in the face of the biggest snowfall we've ever had. There are real things. And I guess I spend a lot of time talking to the Eaglecrest staff, and I really like the way that they are handling the situations when you actually talk with them. It's easy to second guess someone's opinions, but I see those folks working really hard on the water main that's broken. I see the manager up there on his day off, personally plowing the road. He's working really hard to get that done, and I like the way that he puts his priorities on the mountain. I generally disagree with Mr. Hanna on a lot of points here, but one thing I agree with him is that there's a tremendous amount of deferred maintenance. And the current management came into that with a very long list of things that haven't been kept up. And I appreciate that this administration or this management is working hard to keep them up and keep them safe. We have the same lead mechanic that we had 3 years ago. He's, as far as I can tell, the best mechanic there is nationwide in riblet lifts. And he's kept those lifts running really well for a long time. It's not a reasonable narrative to think that all of a sudden he's just not doing a good job anymore. He's doing his best, and that crew, they're a smart crew that are working hard. And when you actually talk to them, they're doing a lot, and I appreciate it. So, yeah, we all want to be skiing in ways that we haven't been skiing in this last month. And I think it's really important that we address those and work towards them. But I'm also, we have an emergency right now that the governor declared. We have cold weather that we've never seen with pipes freezing all over town. It's easy to say, hey, the pipes shouldn't have froze up there, the snowmaking pipes. But we haven't seen that before. And when you talk to the staff that are working hard to do it, I appreciate all the work they're doing. And I hope we can continue to address those things constructively as a community. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. We do want to open up for online comments. Is that possible given our time constraints? All right.
Hello?
Kim, we can hear you. Would you mind stating your name?
Hi, my name is Kim Titus. I live on River Road. I'm a 35-year consecutive pass holder and served on the board for 2 terms, and I was chair of the Finance Committee. Last year, I provided public comment that I was concerned about the viability of Eaglecrest. I remain highly concerned. I am highly concerned about the lack of leadership, poor communication, and apparent lack of budget skills. Even at the Eaglecrest Finance Committee meeting a few days ago, the individual seemed disinterested and checked out. Real leadership would have been for the manager to make a few salient comments on the state of affairs to the public that was participating. But nope, there was crickets, not a word. That engenders a lot of distrust with ski community. A simple question about the CBJ budget deadlines at that meeting turned into a long and convoluted non-answer. The packet for the meeting tonight contains pages and pages of a budget data dump with no explanation and no summary. This is not useful to the skiing public such as myself, and I suggest it is also not useful to the board. We can do better. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. MJC?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Megan Costello, and I have lived in Juneau. The first time in 2004, I moved here my second year ever snowboarding and broke my wrist on Hooter. And a very nice person working at the mountain gave me a ride to the hospital. Since then, I moved back in 2013, and my husband and I are avid users of the ski area. We are currently teaching our 3.5-year-old to snowboard, and she's on her 3rd season. We've been season pass holders for quite a long time. We've been continually taking our daughter up, even while the upper mountain has been closed, because we've been playing on the kids' chair and in the kids' lodge. And I would just kind of like to give a couple of comments. Even last Sunday, when it was I would say, very slow day at Eaglecrest, Hooter and Porcupine were open, and I didn't count, but there's probably still 50 cars up there. The kids' lodge was very busy. There's tons of kids in the ski school, and it just kind of highlights the support that the area has. My concern is the local community who doesn't use a ski area doesn't always understand the value of the mountain. I think the board and maybe the manager could be better about presenting that to the assembly and getting articles in the newspaper that highlight that. Just for example, my family lives in Kodiak, and they bring 4 to 12 people here every spring break for snowboarding. 3 generations of people come, ages 5 to 75, and they're buying passes. They're staying at local rentals. They're eating out at restaurants, and they're not the only people. Pretty much the last 5 or 6 years, there's been groups of individuals from Washington up here snowboarding when Mount Baker hasn't been great. But people don't really hear about that. They just kind of hear all the negatives. Last week we were up there, and my husband and I met a group of women from Ohio who brought some teenagers from the Girl Scout camp in Ohio to ski to Juneau, sight unseen. They drove up there the day after the ski area road closed that Monday in a van and brought 6 teenagers up there, and they were learning to ski. And these were not even adults who were skiers. And I was really impressed about that. And we don't hear about those stories. Everything's always about the lack of the budget, or we're all season pass holders, but there's also individuals who are learning to ski who value the mountains just as well. And I think that we need to present that somehow. There's already enough negativity from the people who don't use the mountain. There's no reason Eaglecrest has to be self-sustaining. None of the other recreational facilities are. If you go to Eaglecrest on a slow day, there's still quite a bit more people than there is using the pool on any given day. And I just think we need to be better about presenting that. And it's difficult to do that when the skier is not running appropriately and the chairs aren't running. So that's kind of all I had to say about that.
Thank you, Megan. Sarah Moore, we're pulling you up. So if you want to test your mic.
Testing. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I wanted to start by saying thanks to all the individuals on the mountain who are working very hard in very hard conditions. I attended the sales and marketing committee meeting last week, and I was really heartened to hear a lot of the board members at the meeting highlight many of my own concerns about the situation at Eaglecrest. And I would like to add my voice to the others who have spoke this evening, requesting better, fuller, and more detailed communication from the mountain and from the board. Bad news never gets better with age. And I'd also like to encourage the board and staff to remember that not everybody uses Facebook, and there's great value in utilizing publicly available assets like your Eaglecrest webpage to get information out to those of us who are not on social media. Thanks very much for taking public testimony tonight.
Thank you very much. The next person is Zoom user.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you, yes.
Yeah, this is Casey Krieger, and I've talked to the board several times. I think a lot of the community is very aware of what's been happening at Eaglecrest, and there's a lot of community involvement. And I just wanted to say the same thing that many community members have been saying for years. We need a community oversight committee to help the board and help the community with communication, uh, to help with the community to have more involvement. And this has to do with people that don't ski also, to know how much money is being spent to fix the ptarmigan chairlift and to move forward however it goes with the gondola. Let's just get the community more involved so people aren't feeling like I've felt for years, left in the dark. And it would help, I believe. And many people have talked to the board about this, but I haven't heard anything in the last year and a half about one starting. And you guys have heard me talk many times about the non-transparency. I had a meeting with Craig and the head of HR last November, stating many of the issues that we're talking about tonight that they were aware of and that needed to be fixed and worked on. And they're doing it, but they are not being transparent and letting the community and people like myself know what's happening. However it moves forward, let's try to get that community oversight and more community involvement so people aren't so frustrated. And I know Craig is working hard and everybody's working hard up there. Everybody loves skiing up there. But it's a community-owned facility. It just makes common sense that the community should have some involvement with the money, what's happening, and, they can give positive feedback to the board on what the community needs to happen to move forward. The gondola is a huge project coming up, and I don't know if a contractor's even been hired. And there's a lot of money involved in that, and the community needs to know. I think, this is a 50 years of Eaglecrest. Can we get the board to provide to the community a profit and loss statement so we actually know what it's costing the community for the last 50 years? And I hope Eaglecrest stays open a lot longer and things get better up there. Thank you.
Thank you, Casey. Rebecca Braun. Oh, yeah.
Hi, sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you so much.
Thanks. This is Rebecca Braun. I'm a longtime season pass holder and like others have raised my family at the mountain. And I'm not really here to question management decisions or competence. I don't have the knowledge to speak to that. But no matter what mistakes happened or bad luck happened, communication makes it better. Just briefly, my internet provider has my undying allegiance because every time anything happens, I get an email with a really straightforward explanation and an estimate of when they think it'll be resolved. So I have a very specific suggestion. If you could please implement very regular written updates, probably weekly would be good, possibly twice weekly. Ideally the same day each week so people know when it'll come out, and just keep them straight with the good news, the bad news, as others have mentioned, and the status of repairs, and the expected timeline to the best of your ability. Share these by email on the website as well as socials. And I just really believe that this kind of clear and consistent communication will go a long way to restoring trust within the Eaglecrest community, and then hopefully enabling the mountain to thrive for years to come. We all know it's a tough time right now, and just want to urge you to communicate. Thank you. Appreciate all your work. Bye-bye.
Oh, school. All right. Thank you very much, Rebecca. Sorry. Is this Julia? Or Sam, I think, is currently up.
Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you, Sam.
Hey, my name's Sam Snyder. I'm a student at UAS, local guide in the summertime, and I've been a great benefactor of Eaglecrest for the past 3 years. I grew up in Eagle River, skied at Alyeska before Pomeroy bought it, and I remember skiing there for $65 a day on a weekend, and then Arctic Valley and Hilltop, some of the other places you listed. And I think a gentleman earlier before me had kind of the similar question. Um, but just talking to friends and some people I know at management at Eaglecrest, is there a way to figure out what the future would look like for someone like me who doesn't have loads of money, can't afford, a $1,500 season pass, but loves Juneau? That's, I think, a lot of people's my age. I'm 22. Their driving motivation to see Eaglecrest succeed, and maybe some of the misspoken frustrations on that that sound really angry, is more so about the money that the ski industry requires. I don't think anyone's super mad at any specific person. I think they're more so mad that maybe their favorite hobby might be taken away or put at a price point that they can no longer do. And so that would be my question. Maybe if you are planning to file a report or put something out to the public, would just be, we can try to self-sustain. Here are the options. And if that's not possible, then this is what the future would look like for Eaglecrest, because that's my largest question. And I also just want to take the time to say thank you to Craig, thank you to the people on the board that I know and work with, and thank you to Ski Patrol. I know everyone's really working their tails off to get things moving, and we've just been kind of handed a bad scenario here. So I appreciate your guys' patience and trying to do the right thing.
Thank you, Sam. My list might be out of date. Oh, Julia's, okay.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Awesome, thank you. My name is Julia Nave, and I just wanted to thank you all for, as Nancy said, being in the hot seat and for taking comment this evening. I really appreciate it. I'm not sure I have anything new to add to what's been said tonight, but this place means a lot to me, and I've listened so far, so I wanted to add my voice to the choir. I was raised at Eaglecrest and chose to move back to Juneau in large part because of the tight-knit community that Eaglecrest supports, and the opportunities for winter recreation. It creates this special place, and it really holds together a special community that is unique and offers a space for people to get out and see each other when otherwise is kind of a dark and quieter time and season. The one thing that I will ask for that many others have is for more complete communication. I think that will engender trust in this community, and create more allies. And I think Eaglecrest desperately needs those allies, as we face budget challenges, seasonal weather challenges, staffing challenges. You need the people who have supported this place, for decades, and for some since the beginning, to be in your corner. And I think clear communication will really help that, and it will also help create co-problem solvers. This is a community of really hard workers, as we've seen. I watched probably 3 dozen people on roofs from my office window this morning, creative thinkers and locals who really want to stay here. So communication will help keep those allies, and create the people, and strengthen the community of people who support, throughout the many challenges that Eaglecrest will continue to face. So thank you for the work you're doing to get the place up and running this season. And I look forward to more details on and updates on what's going on. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Brain or Brian? Uh, just not responding, or?
Hello?
Oh, sorry about that, Brian.
I was surprised to be called, and I thought I needed to be signed up by 4 p.m. to speak virtually, so caught me by surprise.
Well, sorry. Thank you for your patience. Is there something you'd like to share?
Sure. My name is Brian Studi. Been an intermittent employee of Eaglecrest for 11 years on Mountainside operations, which ironically makes me one of the oldest senior employees there. I mean, there's no beating around the bush. I have been in Mr. Scanlon's camp for 20 years since I met him on the Alyeska tram, but I disagreed strongly with a handful of decisions the board made, but I think bringing Craig in to lead Eaglecrest into its new paradigm has been positive. And through all the things that have happened this winter, I want to say that from rentals to lifts, I think Eaglecrest has a mix of some of the most competent and skilled staff that we've had in years. And I would echo the communication thing, because along with these record storm numbers, there is huge avalanche danger out there. And I guess people just don't understand some of the messages that are highlighted in red and posted on the Eaglecrest website. And maybe there does need to be more detail there, because we're dealing with some serious complex layers of snow out there. And when you haven't had 1,000 people skiing it and you haven't had access to it unfettered every day, the snow safety staff has to make tough decisions. And I think maybe that was lost in the ether of communication. I will say that unequivocally, I believe a thing that Dave intrinsically knew above all else is that this city will never float a bond for a new ptarmigan. This city will never vote in the time of that lift has left to pull 30 mil to replace it, and that this gondola project has to get back on track, because if it fails, when the city faces the financial austerity that will come to bear, especially when this state falls off the financial cliff, the first thing it will be forced to do will unload Eaglecrest to private equity. And I have put so much blood, sweat, and tears into trying to make that mountain a better place. Just like many other people have spoken here tonight, that would be a travesty, and we would lose something that would never be regained. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brian. Greg is the last online hand.
What up, what up, what up? Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
All right. I just want to say my name is Greg Seibouts. I've worked at the ski industry for 7 years, and I just want to give a really quick, huge, massive appreciation to Eaglecrest, the board, the whole team, the community. I think what's crazy is a lot of ski areas deal with a lot of difficulties throughout the years. It's not every single day where you get to see it hit all at once. And to see the leadership through Craig, the board, the team, finding small solutions each and every single day, even though it may not be publicly said, I think there is a huge respect that I have for that team and everybody that's working every single day. And I am just really grateful that, we have this ski hill, and I'm just excited for the rest of the season. I know those guys have a lot of wonderful things planned, and I know we're all itching to ski, and if all goes well, I know on the social post they said Ptarmigan's opening this weekend, and hopefully we get to ski it all together. That's all I have to say. Peace, and ski you later.
Well, actually, we do have one last commenter online, and that's that's McLovin.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Picking me up.
Hey, can you state your name for the record? And we'd love to hear from you.
So I totally apologize for McLovin. I had to put my name in about 10 different times. And my name is Patrick Baum. I'm a resident here in Juneau, live off Bain Road. I love the snowboard. And Eaglecrest needs our support. There's no way around it. Whoever's dealing with it, whoever's in charge, you got to just get it together and move forward. And I can see everyone's working hard, and we appreciate that. But let's open Ptarmigan and shred some pow. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. If there's anyone in the room that didn't get a chance to speak, if we could, one or two more folks would like to go, and then we can probably get on with the rest of the agenda. But is there any last takers online or in the room? All right. Yeah. And please do state your name just into the mic.
Hi, I'm Susan Hart. I have worked for Eaglecrest, and I've been a season pass holder for 15 years. And I live here because I love this mountain, and I've been raising my family here, and my children love to ski and snowboard, and they are off at college and doing their own grown-up things, but they speak of returning here to raise their families because of Eaglecrest. Now, I am afraid that the way that this is going it's totally unacceptable. There's a lack of communication that I've never seen before. I'm on the mailing lists. I see nothing. We all gather in the parking lot with our pitchforks, and wonder what the hell's going on. And there's no uphill traffic. There's a beacon reader, and there used to be a camp up on the top of Ptarmigan to watch people go out the ridge and make sure that we had our buddies and our gear. And why isn't that at the top of Hooter if that's where it is? We are all pass holders, and we're the people you want to support this growing. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to, I'm not trying to personally attack. I appreciate what you're doing here, and all of the employees are wonderful, and I've been an employee and I'm a hard worker and I want to make this work. So tell us, what does it need and what is happening and how can we help?
How about that? Oh, there you go. Nice. Good evening, y'all. Thank you for being here. Thank you for providing the opportunity. I sat on this board before. I've worked with a couple of you guys before. I'm probably not going to say anything new, but just another number, another voice. Oh, yeah, my name's Steve Handy. Lived here for 30 years. One of the main reasons I moved here was Eaglecrest. And it's what's keeping me here. The cost of living, forget about it. The cost of stuff, forget about it. Eaglecrest is why I'm here. Eaglecrest is why a lot of people are here. That has to be kept in focus because we already have brain drain. We already have the cost of living is driving people out. It's a known thing. Eaglecrest is an anchor. A lot of malls have anchor stores. Every mall has an anchor store, the one that you have to keep the other stores in that mall. Eaglecrest is an anchor store. Quick anecdote. I was in telecom for a long time. Contractors, we built some of the first cells networks in the world. We had a person come in and they're a new person, they're a new contractor, whatever. They left, they went to the airport to go do their job. We get a phone call very shortly after that the person was being kept by federal police for 3 days because he tried to get a gun through security, a loaded gun. He had two things he could tell the magistrate. You either don't know what the hell you're doing or you had bad intent. That's the only two options. What's going on? We have the intent to run this place into the ground, or is it just being mismanaged? That's something to think about. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Have a good one. And thank you. Seriously, thank you.
Thanks, Steve. I with that oh, sure, yes, absolutely.
Thank you. My name is Kayla Harmon, and I just want to thank you for being here. I am a former board member and a lifelong Eaglecrest user. Two things I want to reinforce that I've heard this evening is one, really talking about user group and talking about the commitment that all Eaglecrest users have. Julia Nave stated, a big reason for her and her family to come ski Eaglecrest. Her little 2-year-old ripped up porcupine this weekend. It's awesome to see. And just thinking about it being a real reason why born and raised people come back to their hometown and really having it be what anchors us to this community. And already talking on the chairlift yesterday, Hooter was amazing, but we were talking, if Eaglecrest closes, where are we going to move? Like, where would we go with our advanced degrees where we could do what we do every single day here and we feel so grateful for? The second thing I want to reinforce is just the anxiety of the uncertainty that we feel right now as a community. I know we all feel it. And we have so many competent, thoughtful, handy people, and you are underutilizing us. I was on the board of directors when we got the Hilda Dam cabin built. We had contractors, we had people that had a lot of skills that we were able to tap into, where we were able to streamline a lot of stuff. You have so many people that want to help if we knew how we could help and we could be an asset to this mountain. It's not gonna fail unless you get through all of us first. So thank you so much for your time, and I appreciate you being here. Thank you.
Is that, yeah, good, okay. Yeah, I got a lot of thoughts, obviously, but transparency is one. Why would you put out a social media post telling everybody the road's going to be closed when it's not? It's like the left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing. Public Works is going to keep an Eaglecrest asset open. This would have been the 28th, I believe. So we have Eaglecrest. CBJ has buildings up there that currently have no fire protection, and they're not going to not plow the road, right? Yet Eaglecrest put out a social media post saying that the road would be inaccessible and you would not be able to get up there. So I don't know if that's a lie or an untruth or what, but it goes back to the communication factor, right? Another one is there was a press release put out by Eaglecrest that about the lifts that some of the parts took 4 months to get for ptarmigan. So that would have been known in the late summer, right? But that information was not put out to the public. They sold season passes at full retail price, knowing that the ski area would not be at 100%. Okay, so that's another. What is it? How do you characterize that? To me, it's not truthful. And I'll back up. I'm a general contractor in this community. If I do something, my business does something, my employees do something that doesn't meet my customer satisfaction, right, I'm held accountable, right? And I've worked at Eaglecrest as a contractor. I did not buy a pass this year out of basically protest, and I've been a season pass holder at Eaglecrest and other ski areas for 35 years. I'm a professional ski bum. Essentially, I've been a helicopter ski guide for over 30 years. And I am an avalanche professional as well. And even prior to what's going on right now, the fact that Eaglecrest can't get their chairs going, even if ptarmigan was going, I guarantee you they wouldn't open at 9 a.m. because of avalanche control. I don't know of a ski area. I've skied all over the world. I've never been to a ski area that hasn't opened on a powder day at 9 a.m. Right? It's basically, and I've been in this industry a long time. I would call it incompetence. And I don't understand what's going on up there, right? I've been a season pass holder at probably 10 different ski areas, big ski areas, small ski areas, little local, I learned how to ski at a tiny little ski area in southeastern Oregon that's owned by the city, right? Like this, I'm a lifelong professional ski bum. And what I'm seeing right now is incompetence.
All right, yeah. I don't know if we've got that off the top of our head. Can you give us a round number? Awesome. Yeah. So I mean, thank you all for making it in person too, but thank you to everybody who's on Zoom and again, who cares enough to be here and to show up and to share. We really, really appreciate it. With that, I'm going to close public participation and move to the mountain report. I'm not sure. Do you want me to just kind of hit the highlights and maybe as we go through the report, I can ask for board members' support and sharing their insights and their perspectives and maybe try to hit some of the highlights of the concerns we've received. We're going to give the mountain report tonight, and we'll give updates as we have them. So I'm going to move on with the meeting, and I really appreciate that you're all here, and I do ask that you allow us to move forward. I am going to move on with the meeting. I really do appreciate you. I don't have a reason to give you right now, which is the communication what it is. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. We're going to move on to the update. Sure, absolutely.
Hi, my name is Brandon Cullum. I'm a fairly new board member, but we're not sure why the manager's not here tonight. Totally honestly, we're still trying to figure that out. And it's not, I'm sure it's not out of disrespect to anyone, but we're going to do the best we can to present the information that he's provided and answer questions. Well, we can't answer questions. We've got public comment, but I think, we're just going to do the best we can with who we've got available. Thanks.
Yeah. So focusing on, I mean, two of the biggest factors, of course, are ptarmigan and the water supply to the lodge. So for the ptarmigan lift update, all our required state certifications have been received, and we're currently waiting for that final inspection from our insurance provider. The plan was to have that today. The plane was delayed, so he is getting in this evening and will be on the mountain tomorrow to do that certification. As soon as we have a solid update, an update that we can provide to make plans off of, it will be provided. And I mean, I really hope to be skiing with you all on Saturday. The water system update, I will not pretend to be a plumber, so I'll ask your forgiveness and refer to the written text for the best summary of this. But the water main failure that's impacting Fish Creek Lodge happened somewhat concurrently with the freeze up, but seemingly unrelatedly. Kind of an aging infrastructure piece. Immediately, we had folks up at the mountain kind of digging into that and trying to work backwards to find the root cause of that concern. Once that main water line was restored, we installed a temporary line to get to the waterworks because the original line that was right then during that 30-day historic freeze up. So the original line had frozen while the system was offline and we couldn't be pumping water. So when that water flow was restored, then a new problem. We had this abnormally high water pressure. And so that is the current testing stage of getting crews up to the mountain, pressure testing the lines to find where the obstruction is. And we're scheduled now with a contractor to install kind of a supplemental line, begin refilling that storage tank, and then as soon as we can, confirm that that main water line from the tanks to the lodge is unobstructed, we're good to go in getting that water storage restored. Following that, the water we'll have to collect it and test it, of course, before it's potable. But that will restore the fire systems, and we can at least start flushing toilets, and that'll be that'll be a huge impressive impact to our operations. I also do want it's of course really frustrating, the porta potties on the mountain and how quickly they fill up, and I just want to really that system has particularly been impacted by our current weather. either the porta potties are frozen and they can't be emptied, or we physically can't get the trucks up to the mountain to replace those. That's a really high priority for us to either bring new ones in or get those cleaned and replaced as soon as we can. And I've had some success in terms of shopping for the toilet, unfortunately. If one is not sufficient, there is hopefully one or usually one at another location that is better. But until we get the flow restored, we do need to continue to use that temporary solution. I would like to ask, I know that we had a number of ski school events over the holiday weekend that were pretty well, very, very successful, much more well attended than I would have guessed, given that we were in that middle of the snowstorm. Is there anything positive that you would like to share about the success of those camps and how many kids got to attend and learn? Yeah.
I'm sweating, you guys. I'm sweating. Okay. It's a hot seat. It's a hot seat. Okay, so we had 125 registered students over the 3 holiday camps. My children were some of them. We graduated most of our kids off the beach also during those camps. Yeah, which is huge. That's all I really have to say. I think, I mean, Hannah, ski school is the best part of Eaglecrest. And it's hard to no longer work for ski school. I work for a different department now, so it has my heart. Do you have any other specific questions I could answer for you?
Not on ski school, unless there's something else you'd like to highlight.
On ski school.
I might take the chance to speak from just my understanding of the avalanche situation. And I do want to say that the folks that we have in mountain safety are, I mean, you know them, they're exceptional professionals, and we really respect the work that they do. But I think some of the what looks like over bombing in the past couple of weeks has been trying to reduce it, from my understanding again, and I'm only a really admiring amateur for snow science, but we have a really pernicious weak layer that's formed under that big dump of snow on top of the beautiful light stuff from earlier in December, and the patrol was trying to eliminate as much of that weak layer as possible before the snow got too thick. Because if that is going to be lurking in our snowpack for the rest of the season, some of the backcountry and some of the side country won't be skiable until April because of the risk that layer represents. You know, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And I do want to point out, I want to ask that the people that are making these decisions are making them be out of their expertise and out of their goodwill for the mountain. appreciate, and we need to move on with the meeting, so thank you. And yeah, it is an insurance claim, and this isn't Vail. If we make a mistake that ends up getting someone killed or injured, that's it. And I appreciate that, and we're going to move on with the meeting. Is there anything else from the report that we'd like to highlight? Well, let's move on to the agenda topics without without any delay. And I want to appreciate Craig Dahl, who has been really exceptional in working on the gondola project. He's currently dealing with some storm-related crises in his own backyard, so he won't be here today. But I do have an update from him on just the basics. So I will pull that up. Thank you. So the update from Craig Dahl is that the RFP is currently being reviewed by the selection committee, which is a point of city process. He expects that process is going to be done early next week, and that determination will be made as to who the contractor will be. And that is a really major step for us because it allows us to get a true cost estimate of the work that needs to be done as compared to how the contractor expects to move forward on it. So that will be excellent, and I look forward to those results when we have them. The only other noteworthy topic is the gondola cars moving to Colorado, and that has been, again, moving things on and off the mountain at this time is more complex. So I don't have an update for that directly, but that is the kind of the next point of order on that item. Does anyone else have questions or updates on the gondola? Right. That will be determined next week as part of the selection process, and we will give that update. For the budgeting process update.
Thanks everybody for being here. So it's budget season. We've had some meetings with assembly members to try to understand what things look like moving forward. Craig's been involved in those meetings, and Assembly Member Steininger has taken the time to be available and give us some guidance. And what it looks like is we'll need to have a budget approved in our February meeting and then refer that budget to the Assembly. And we won't know whether we have, I think there are some nuances in the budget that I'll kind of circle back to here in a moment, but I think everybody's probably interested in the big picture at this point. And so we're going to have a budget ideally by our February board meeting. That's our last regular board meeting before we'll need to pass it on to the Assembly. When we pass it to the Assembly, we won't know at that point whether or not it is a go or a no-go on the gondola. And clearly that decision will affect our budget. So the Assembly will get our budget, and then we'll understand soon after that what the pricing revision looks like for the gondola. And that's the information that's going to be used in a go or no-go decision. And the board is going to be very involved in evaluating that, looking at whether or not that number is actionable, whether it presents a kind of unprofitable barrier moving forward, whether it's something that we can still move forward with, given what we think we can get per ticket and how much traffic we can get. And so we'll be looking at all that. And so when we put our budget together and present it to the Assembly, we're going to do our best to have other scenarios available, right? So the budget we present to the Assembly is going to assume that we're moving forward with the gondola. And I think that's what we all need. Whether we like the gondola as a concept or not, we're pretty thick into it at this point. And we want to put together numbers and a plan that supports that. But clearly, if the assembly says no on the gondola, then we're going to need to be able to pivot pretty quickly with the plan B, and what does that look like? And it's going to be quick and hectic communication, and so we're going to do our best to be prepared for that dialogue, and try to keep you as updated as we can. You know, we have the finance committee meetings where we'll be talking about it. I think if you're interested in the budget, come to the finance committee. Craig, the last time I talked to Craig, he and Chris, and I'm sure other people have been involved, probably you, Marissa, quite a bit. We're uploading kind of preliminary information in the budget that would give kind of a baseline that they will provide to us. This is my second budget cycle on the board. The first budget cycle, Craig was brand new. I think he's learned a little bit then. The other staff, looking at you again, Marissa, and Aaron too, I've been learning and supporting that. So if any of you remember the budget process last time, we're looking to avoid that this year with some preliminary work, and that doesn't leave us kind of really, you know, dotting I's and crossing T's in the board meeting. But that said, it's kind of a dynamic situation right now. So we'll see how it progresses. And, you know, if you have ideas, please keep sending emails. I appreciate the emails. I don't get to respond to them all. I've got some good revenue emails. You know, we're reading those things just a lot. We have day jobs too. But this is more than a budget report, so I'm sorry I'm getting out over my skis a little bit. But essentially, you know, we're having to balance the possibility of multiple paths. And so when we look at the budget, you know, I already said that we're going to be looking at, you know, the primary budget submission will assume a go on the gondola. And that would involve, you know, thinking about the kind of maintenance positions we need to get on board and start training to make sure the gondola is working, what kind of administrative positions and other operations positions would need to be in place to maintain a successful gondola operation. And so that's what I would imagine we'll see in the budget. There'll also be a capital component that's evolving, and not quite sure what all is going to go in there. And so that's evolving as well. I think, does anyone else on the finance committee that's been involved in budget conversations have anything to add to that? Or not on the finance committee, for that matter, I think for the sake of clarity.
Brandon, I might add, sorry if you already said this, but the joint work session with this board and the Assembly Finance Committee is scheduled for March 4th. That'll be a really important meeting, so keep an eye on your calendar. Like I said, it's a tentative date, but that's where we'll be talking brass tacks with the Assembly about our next year's budget.
Yeah, thanks for that. We can't. Okay, so if you're going to ask a question, we've got to open up public comment, and I'm sorry about that. But please feel free to send me an email. I'll try to answer your question, and I appreciate your comments earlier.
All right, thank you very much. The last agenda topic is a matter of voting for a chair replacement, or reappointment rather. And I certainly had hoped it would be a quieter meeting, but I, due to some health issues of my own, need to step down from this position as chair. And I know that we've had a while to talk about it. I was wondering if anyone has any appointments or thoughts or anything they'd like to share.
And I'd first like to thank you for your services, Chair. Appreciate it very much. And I would like to nominate Brandon Callum as the new Chair of Eaglecrest Board of Directors.
I'd second that motion.
Yeah, I'm kind of nervous to accept a nomination, honestly. But yeah, I would accept that. And yeah, thank you, Hannah, that nomination.
Well, seeing and hearing no objections, Thank you very much. And I'll close out this meeting, but I really appreciate you. I mean, I appreciate all your work on the Finance Committee especially, but appreciate your willingness to step into this role, and thank you. With that being said, committee reports. Would you like to give a sales and marketing update? Are there other updates from the Planning Committee?
Is it going? I can give it. I was holding it, but I can give an update on the communication, sales, and marketing committee. We did meet a week and a half ago or so, and we discussed the importance of being transparent and involving the community to have a community kind of focused approach. And kind of, the goal is to rebuild the trust and the faith within the community, and also just be transparent. You guys, this mountain was built by the community for the community, and we've got to remember that, and we do remember that. And kind of going forward, we just want to make sure that you guys are well informed, and also there are long-term goals that the marketing community or committee, not committee, but the marketing department has, but for right now it's beneficial for us to kind of focus more on our core community, and kind of just focus more on being transparent, even if the update is a small update, like plumbers made it today. We hear you guys, and I want to let you know that we're working towards being more transparent. So thank you.
Anything from liaison report?
The things I was going to update you on, Mr. Colum, Mr. Calvin, you guys covered when we had the joint meeting between the Assembly and the Eaglecrest Board. Mr. Colum, you addressed kind of the big challenge going into this budget process, that we won't, when you as a board pass your budget, we won't have clarity on the future of the Gondola project, because just the timing, as you point out, Ms. Shively, the selection of the contractor and the visibility into the total project cost that will really, inform the go no go decision at the assembly level won't be fully realized at that point. And I realize that's a challenge for the board, not having having to kind of plan multiple contingencies going into what already, with just a financial background happening at the city, is going to be a challenging budget process. And I understand that adds a layer of challenge for you as a board. And I really appreciate the outreach that you guys have done to, small groups of assembly members, to kind of make sure that that we're all kind of thinking in the same, at least strategic direction of how the conversation will be laid out. So I appreciate that engagement, for sure. Because moving forward into this budget process, for every agency in the city is going to be challenging, and no less so for Eaglecrest. So I appreciate that. I appreciate the public engagement. It's been very informative to sit and listen to what everybody has to say about what's going on, and the work that we have to do here as the city, as the ski area, as a public entity, can be challenging sometimes. So I appreciate you guys all being here and sitting and taking the feedback and comments. So thank you.
Small point of order, and thank you for pointing it out, Brandon, is given that you are going to be the chair moving forward, it also would be not effective to have you be the chair of the Finance Committee, although I hope that you'll stay on the Finance Committee. Is there anyone that you'd like to nominate to that role?
I'd like to nominate Thor if he's open to it, with your multitude of days on the board. I think you're well cut out for it.
Happily.
And then,
I'd second that.
all right, hearing and seeing no objections. Yeah, thank you very much, Thor. Um, and again, apologies for jumping around there in the order, and good catch before we close the meeting. The last kind of pattern here is comments and questions from the board of directors.
I'd like to make a few comments, if I might, Hannah. First, I want to thank you all for being here and everyone online. We certainly appreciate everyone's frustration. No one is more frustrated than we are with how this season is unfolding. As Sean said, we are committed to restoring trust and confidence in the ski area. I'm looking forward to the time soon when we can sort of get reunited as a skiing community, and we can focus on the really heavy lift that we have in front of us to find the resources to renew our ski area and move it into the next 50 years. So thank you in advance for all of your help with that upcoming work.
Madam Chair, I just want to say thank you for your willingness to step up to be the chair, and I wish you well with your health issues, and please know that we'll be thinking of you as you work your way through that. I think it's important at some point that we share with the public the rules of engagement for us as a board of directors for a publicly owned ski area in the city and borough of Juneau that don't necessarily conform to the rules and regulations of running a business in the business field, that there are constraints to us, constraints to the ski area in the ways that we approach doing business on the mountain. So it's not sometimes as easy as just picking up the phone and getting something done, because there's a process. And because we are a public entity, that process is required of us. And if we don't follow the rules and regulations of procurement or whatever the issue may be, liability, inspections, we run into problems. So I think going forward, we will try to make that information more readily available to the public so they understand that constraints that we have as a board in terms of running a publicly owned facility. I too would say thank you to each and every one of you for taking time out of your evening and your busy schedule to come and share your thoughts and comments with us. As Mr. Steininger pointed out, there are meetings coming with the Assembly, and public comment to the Assembly during the budgeting process is highly recommended and encouraged. So please bring your thoughts, comments to share with the Assembly, because there are going to be some hard conversations going forward in this community about what stays, what goes, what gets cut, how we fund, given the outcome of last fall's election. So there are challenges ahead of us that we as board members have no control over. So I encourage your participation going forward to not only this board, but to the Assembly as well, to share with them your thoughts and concerns about the operation of Eaglecrest. Thank you.
If it's all right, and I know I've already grandstanded a lot, so I won't rehash any of that, but I stand by my original comments, and I especially stand by the fact that the team on the mountain right now is as experienced and as passionate and as hardworking as they've ever been or more, and I'm really, really proud of all the work that they've done, even when it doesn't give them a tangible success that they can celebrate yet, because that will come to fruition and we'll be able to celebrate it. And I think one thing to consider, and I'm just as guilty of this, if not more so, like the type of users that Eaglecrest, like the type of people that really, really enjoy Eaglecrest and use it to its full extent, are also not the type of users that it's easy to run a business off of. I get my season's pass in July, I pay the cheapest possible price, and maybe I go in for chicken nuggets a couple times a season. I carry a sandwich, and if the weather's bad at noon, I go home and I don't worry about it. And that's not the type of user that a business chases. And so again, when we're looking at revenues in the future and we're trying to fill in those gaps and knowing that we're going to be more resources that we need to, as a community, determine what what is the path forward. As if we're going to be a business, we need to function like a business, and that means deprioritizing the needs of some of the people who are the most passionate users of Eaglecrest, and that sucks, but that's part of the math. And so I really appreciate you guys, and thanks so much.
I just want to thank all of you for being here. I really appreciate it. The feedback is super helpful, and I think I'd just like to reiterate what Mr. Stevens said, that as we go into the budget process, there are other more powerful decision makers that really need to hear your feedback too, because the ski area is important to us all. That's why we're here. That's why you're here. And you really are here. This is a great turnout. I also want to thank Hannah Shively. When Mike Satry left as chair of the board, Hannah stepped up. We had a brand new GM, and we got off to a bit of a rough start there. And and she has put. She doesn't talk about it, but Hannah puts a ton of work in the background. She did a ton of work on the personnel structure that has improved our ability to recruit. She's at all the meetings and volunteers through the summer. And so she cares a lot about the ski area. And but I think, it's, yeah. So I thank you, Hannah, for your time. And we're going to do our best as we move through the budget season and this ski season, and just keep the feedback coming, and because it keeps us on track. Thank you.
The last item on our agenda is actually an executive session. And if it's possible for someone on the board to move into that executive session, we'll then clear the room and have a chance to move on for the next steps. We'll reconvene to talk about a meeting date. You can absolutely stay until the end of that, but
Hannah, is there a let's see, looking for another link for the executive session, or do I just
I
stay?
think I move that
shortly with a link.
I move that we transition to executive session to discuss matters that are either sensitive or prejudicial, or maybe used to prejudice an individual. And I think that's, oh, wait. I'm sorry, I can't read. And just a modification of my motion, the executive session is to discuss the evaluation of the general manager. So, thank you.
I'll second the motion.
and seeing and hearing no objections, we'll then move to that session.
We see you there. Can you hear us, Kevin?
Yes.
All right, I need a motion to bring us out of executive session.
I'd move to return to regular session and out of executive session.
All right, we're back in regular session. Before we get to agenda item K, we do have a follow-up from executive session that we're bringing into regular session.
Mr. Chair, I would move that we appoint Aaron Lupro as the acting interim GM with Craig Simmons to remain up to 30 days for support in the transition process.
Any dissent? All right, hearing none, the motion passes. So Aaron Lupro, thank you very much. And Craig, thank you so much for being willing to support us with this transition and for the incredible work you've done, improving staff experience and safety on the mountain and helping us put forward a vision. And we really, really appreciate it. With that, we have a next meeting date of February 5th. Does any member of the board have comments before we depart? All right, hearing none, we need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn our regular meeting of the Eaglecrest Board of Directors of January 8th.
Hearing no Oh, please, Attorney Wright.
Thank you. Before you adjourn, I think that you need to explain to the public what your motion and action was in response to, because the public is not aware.
Oh, thank you, Attorney Wright. Yeah, we were in the meeting, not everybody else. So this evening, General Manager Craig Simmons tendered his resignation to the Board of Directors. But at the same time, Mr. Simmons graciously offered to help coordinate a transition. And in that conversation, Ms. Erin Lupro, longtime ski area employee and previous acting general manager, has accepted our plea to work as acting general manager for a limited period of time. And Mr. Simmons is going to support Ms. Lupro in that process for up to 30 days. And in the meantime, we will work as a board with CBJHR and with Ms. Lupro and the rest of the team at Eaglecrest to facilitate more support for Ms. Lupro and to start the GM recruitment process. Is that, Ms. Wright, do you think that covers it?
Absolutely. Thank you.
With that, I'm going to revisit that motion to adjourn. And I think we already have it. So this meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.